Namaste friends, my name is Amit Garg. Welcome to my channel Ganesha-Hanuman.com. Today we'll talk about January 2024 transits. The transits for the first month of the year, very important. In fact, this is going to be a very interesting phase when all the planets are going to be direct motion. There's no retrograde planet anymore. So we'll go sign by sign for all the 12 signs, both rising sign and the Lagna, which is the moon sign, the Rashi. This is a very unique and fantastic video. I'll show a chart for pretty much every week of the month. So we'll see 4 different charts for each sign, depending on when the planets start changing signs. So watch till the end. And if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe to my video. So let's get started with Aries rising. So this is what we're looking at. First of all, these are the important dates. This is when planets are changing signs. Okay, so Mercury has been in Scorpio. It's going to go to Sagittarius beginning of the month, January 7th. Sun is going to change from Sagittarius to Capricorn. That's going to be Makar Sankranti. Sankranti is when Sun changes sign. Makar is the sign of Capricorn. So this is an auspicious day, January 14th, Makar Sankranti. And then Venus is going to change from Scorpio to Sagittarius on January 18th. Mars is going to be in Sagittarius all throughout the month of January. Now, first of all, a very important thing you can notice is all the planets are direct. There is no retrograde planet, right? So action, so making things happen, doing projects, doing things. So that's good for the month of January. So this is the chart for Aries rising or Aries Rashi. So if you have your rising sign as Aries, or if you have your moon sign as Aries, you can, this applies to you both. So first is before January 7th, because on January 7th, Mercury goes from Scorpio to Sagittarius. So we're looking at this chart first. Okay, so the first chart, look at the first chart. So the first week of January until January 7th, this is going to be the chart. So of course the slow moving planets, Jupiter is going to be in Aries, in your Lagna throughout the month, and it is direct now. So Jupiter is direct as of December 30th. So it's a huge blessing for Aries rising or Aries Rashi people, because Jupiter is in your Lagna and it's direct. So you have overall blessings throughout the chart, throughout your life. You'll have blessings of the Guru, of the Jupiter. Plus you have Saturn in its Mula Trikona sign and direct as well in your 11th house. So making things happen, hard work will pay off. Saturn will be, this is a great placement, the 10th and 11th ruler sitting in the 11th house in Mula Trikona sign. Excellent time for profession, excellent time for projects and getting things done on the ground. And you'll see financial rewards as well. And of course, Rahu Ketu in your 6-12 axis, which I have a separate video for that already. So before January 7th, Mercury is going to be in your 8th house in the sign of Scorpio. Okay, what that means is this is good for money from other people. Okay, 8th house is other people's money, and Mercury is the planet for money and business and commerce and communication and trade. So first week, excellent for you to do any business deals, do any projects or start things that will bring money from other people, from your clients, or also you possibly could get like some kind of inheritance or money from in-laws or spouse or things like that. So that's the first week of January. And also Mercury is your 6th ruler and your 3rd house ruler. So there may be some change, transformation happening with respect to your health. You may start some new health routines, or some change happening with respect to your siblings. Okay, so or there might be some secrets revealed with respect to your siblings or your work, your 9-to-5 job, or with respect to your the people who work for you. Okay, so be careful. There might be some secrets revealed with respect to the 3rd house relationships and the 6th house relationships. But Mercury is with Venus in Scorpio in the 8th house. Excellent time for doing client work. Okay, so starting the second week, which is January 7th to 14th. The reason I'm showing, so let me see here. So now we're talking about this chart. So why January 7th to 14th is because on the 14th, Sun is going from Sagittarius to Capricorn, Makar Sankranti. Before January 14th, Sun is still in Sagittarius. You see here, Mercury has moved from Capricorn, from Scorpio to Sagittarius on January 7th. So this is the chart for the second week of January. Big shift happening, right? So Mercury is now in your ninth house. And Mercury will be in the sign of Jupiter, which is better because Mercury is not so super comfortable in Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars, but Mercury will get the blessings of the Guru of the Jupiter in the ninth house because Jupiter is actually aspecting the ninth house. So the grace of the Guru will be there. And then so things with your siblings will improve starting January 7th because third house ruler will be in the ninth house. And things with respect to your health will improve. Okay, so this is a good time to focus on your health and focus on your inner enemies, because sixth house is also your inner enemies, Shadripus, and Mercury in the house of Guru. Ninth house in the natural zodiac belongs to Guru as well. So you'll get blessings, whatever things you do with respect to your inner enemies. You'll get the blessings, you'll get the support of the Gurus. Okay, so that's the second week. And of course, Sun is still there. Sun is the fifth house ruler in the ninth house. So first half of the month, Sun is still in the ninth house. That means a good time for your children to do some spiritual work, or you can do spiritual work with your children, or introduce your children to some gurus or wise people, because fifth house ruler is in the ninth house of gurus and wise people. So that's a Sun. And then after January 14th, that's when we have the Makar Sankranti. That's when Sun goes over to the 10th house. So you see here, so until January 18th, on January 18th, Venus changes signs. So, but first we're talking about Sun here. So Sun is in Capricorn now. That's super powerful, extremely powerful for your career, for Aries Lagna and Aries Rashi. You have Sun in the 10th house, and so the second half of the month, and you have Saturn in the 11th house. So the 10th house ruler in the 11th house and Sun in Makar Rashi. So both your 10th house and 11th house are very, very strong. So excellent time to do work, professional work, for projects for your career. And also until January 18th, Venus is still going to be in your 8th house. So these 18 days, so starting January 1st through January 18th, Venus will be in Scorpio in the 8th house. Venus is the second house ruler and the 7th house ruler. So be careful with your relationships in general. If you are spiritually inclined, if your partner and you are spiritually inclined, this is excellent time to do spiritual work, change and transformation. Otherwise, there may be issues. If it's more, material relationship, then you may see some issues. And also same thing with your family and family wealth. There may be some secrets or things revealed with respect to your family wealth. You may find out some things, or with respect to your relationships, you may both discover something new about your relationship before January 18th, which could be a good thing. It doesn't have to be, anything concerning. So after January 18th, then Venus goes to the 9th house. You see here. So Venus, Mercury, and Mars are going to be in the 9th house in Sagittarius for the rest of the month, starting January 18th. So the 9th house has three big planets, and it's very powerful. And also the ruler of the 9th house is having an aspect on the 9th house. So this all points to a lot of spiritual work. 9th house is gurus, 9th house is higher wisdom. So maybe start some higher education, enroll in some courses, enroll in some dharmic discussions or webinars or online portals. So spend time with gurus, spend time with your sangha, spend time learning things that are of like higher wisdom, not just like bookish knowledge or school things, but things concerning about life and higher wisdom in the company of your gurus. So that's the And Mars is going to be here throughout the month. Okay, so Mars being the Lagna Lord, it's going to give you strength, and it'll boost. So basically, your focus throughout the month will be the ninth house, because the Lagna Lord, or even the Rashi Lord, we can say, is going to be in the ninth house with the blessings of the Lagna Lord or the Rashi Lord. So that's the summary for the month of January 2024 for Aries Lagna and Aries Rashi, which is the moon sign or your rising sign. So next we'll look at the Taurus rising or Taurus Lagna, which is rising sign or Taurus Rashi. Okay, so if your moon sign is in Taurus or your rising sign in Taurus, so this applies to. So we're looking at the January 2024 transits. Yeah, and these are the important dates. So Mercury changing signs from Scorpio to Sagittarius on January 7th. Sun is changing from Sagittarius to Capricorn on 14th. Venus is changing from Scorpio to Sagittarius on 18th, but Mars is going to be in Sagittarius all throughout the month. Now, if you see, so first of all, important things, all the planets are going to be direct. If you see here, starting December 30th, actually, Jupiter is going to be direct in Aries. So that's going to be a big shift. Okay, so you see all the planets are direct. So this is the month for action, for doing things, for thinking forward. First of all, we'll look at this chart. So this is the chart before January 7th. After January 7th, Mercury is going to change signs. But before that, Mercury is still in your 7th house. So this is number 2 sign, Taurus rising, Taurus Lagna, or Taurus Rashi. Okay, so first of all, Jupiter is in your 12th house in Aries. This is a good time for donations or foreign travel, or doing things with foreigners, doing things with ashrams and priests and retreat centers, because 12th house represents all of that, and Jupiter has its blessings over there. But be careful about expenses. You may actually overspend. You may be very, very over generous, but good time for donation, so that takes care of any possible expenses. You have Saturn in the Mool Trikona sign in the 10th house. So that's, of course, throughout the month. Excellent time for career. Doing things with your gurus, with your teachers. Maybe start some projects with your teachers. And so Saturn will give you a lot of practical results for your career, sitting in the 10th house of career in Mool Trikona sign. Now, the slower moving planet, so Mercury is going to be in your 7th house for the first week of January. Okay, so Mercury is your the 2nd house ruler and the 5th house ruler. So Mercury is in a way very much planet for money for you. It's the 2nd house is family wealth, and 5th house is luck and speculation, things like that. So good time, to do things with your spouse or with your partner. That's the 7th house, which things about your finances, or doing creative projects with your partner. So first week is good to spend with your partner, but your focus will be doing things with your family or with your children, and involving your partner. So 7th house is all about exchange, like give and take and trade and all of that, how we relate to other people. So having Mercury and Venus in the 7th house, really a good time to just have this open channel of communication with your partner. Okay, innovative, creative ways of communication, because 5th house is creativity, and talk about your family wealth and things like that. After January 7th, so that's going to be this chart. So for the second week, the Mercury is going to change from Scorpio to Sagittarius. So Mercury is going to be in your 8th house for the rest of the month, starting January 7th. So that is the period when you can do more client work. As 8th house is money from other people. Okay, so we're talking about Mercury here. And then before January 14th, Sun is going to be there as well in the sign of Sagittarius. So Sun sitting in your 8th house, the first half of the month, it will illuminate that area of life. That 8th house will be the focus. It will bring light to that. So that means some secrets may be revealed. You may learn some esoteric wisdom first half of the month. And there may be some change and transformation, especially, 3 major planets are sitting there, Mars and Mercury and Sun. And so your entire focus for the second week will be the eighth house matters. Eighth house is also sudden things happening. So you may see some things happening all of a sudden. And eighth house is deep esoteric wisdom. So that's going to be the focus. And of course, Jupiter is also aspecting the eighth house. So you'll have the blessings of the gurus. And Sun is, of course, your fourth house ruler. So some change with respect to your mother or your place of residence, or with respect to vehicles and land and things like that. So fourth house also represents your inner happiness. So that means you'll discover, what makes you happy in deep secrets of the universe, hidden secrets of the universe. So focus on spirituality, focus on deep spirituality, first half of the month at least. After January 14th, Sun is going to change signs. Sun is going to move over to the ninth house in Capricorn. Okay, so the fourth house ruler in the ninth house, so there'll be a connection between your father and your mother. Ninth house is father, fifth house is mother, and also your gurus. Your mother may actually be more inclined to do spiritual work after January 14th. And that whole month through February 14th, actually, Sun is going to be in the ninth house. So the light will be focused on your ninth house, the second half of the month. So you may find new gurus, you may discover new things about your dharma, your path, your purpose in life. That's all ninth house. Okay. And ninth house is also your bhagyasthan. So second half of the month, your luck may shine upon you, right? So because Sun, wherever Sun goes, that it just illuminates that area of life. So it may trigger, Sun triggers the things in the transits. The triggering point is the transit of the Sun. Okay, so that's for the rest of the month. For the second half of the month, Sun is going to be here. Now we're talking about this chart. After January 18th, Venus is going to move over to the 8th house. Until January 18th, Venus is here as well. So first 18 days, you have the blessings of the Venus. Venus is the planet of relationships and doing fine things together. So do some artwork, do some creative work, do some painting, dancing, music, things like that with your spouse, with your partner. So that's for the first 18 days, because Venus is still going to be in your 7th house. And Venus is your Lagna Lord as well. So your focus for the first 18 days will be on your partner. 7th house is your partner. Wherever the Lagna Lord or the Rashi Lord is sitting, that house becomes the focus. Your mind will be focused on that. So in your mind, you'll be thinking about your relationships a lot, and do things related to Shukra. You can do, chanting the feminine Shakti mantras, Durga mantra or Lakshmi mantra or Gayatri mantra, and then also do things together with your partner. And it's also the 6th house ruler. So that means maybe do some things related to your health, related to, start some health routine with your partner. After January 18th, then this is going to be the chart. So Mars is, of course, going to be in the 8th house throughout the month. So that's one caution is to be careful about, any anger issues or things just bubbling, things hidden, and all of a sudden those may erupt. Okay, so that's Mars in the 8th house, in a fire sign of Sagittarius, although it has the blessings of the Guru aspected by Jupiter, but still be careful about any anger issues. Drive carefully, don't drive too rash. Okay, so 8th house is sudden things, and Mars is going to be there throughout the month, but Mars will give you the courage to go dive deep into the secrets of the universe. Okay, and the concentration of 3 planets, 3 big planets here, second half of the month, this will be a time when actually you'll gain money from other people. This is, if you do any client work, this time will be very, very rewarding. Throughout the month, there is focus on the 8th house, but especially after January 18th, there'll be good opportunities from other people, client work. And also, 8th house will be activated, especially after January 18th, more so because Venus is going to be there as well. So these 3 planets among themselves. They rule 6 of your 12 houses, right? So half of your chart is ruled by these 3 planets sitting in the 8th house. So you better focus on some deep esoteric wisdom, start some spiritual courses, learn Jyotish, learn astrology, things like that. So that will be excellent for you pretty much throughout this month. So that's the transit of January transits for Taurus Lagna and Taurus Rashi. Next is Gemini rising or Gemini Rashi. So if your rising sign is Gemini or your moon is in Gemini, then this applies to you. So we're talking about the January 2024 transits. So these are the important dates to keep in mind. Mercury will be changing from Scorpio to Sagittarius on January 7th. So that's why I've shown this chart. The first chart is before January 7th, while Mercury is still in Scorpio. And then Sun changes from Sagittarius to Capricorn on January 14th. So that's this chart. Until January 14th, Sun is going to be still in Sagittarius. So we'll talk about that. And then January 14th will be the Makar Sankranti, when Sun changes sign from Sagittarius to Capricorn. That's a very auspicious day, big festival in India. And then Venus is going to change from Scorpio to Sagittarius on 18th. So this is the chart before that. Until the 18th, Venus is still going to be in your 6th house. So we'll talk about this chart. And of course, Mars is going to be in Sagittarius throughout the month. So Mars is going to be in your 7th house. So we'll talk about that. First of all, the slow moving planets, Jupiter is going to be direct. If you see, month of January, all planets are direct. There's no retrograde planet anymore. Jupiter turns direct on December 30th. So big blessings, good time to move things along, to do things. Okay. So Jupiter is in your 11th house in the sign of Aries. Good time to reach out to your friends. Social media, good time for financial gains. So that's going to be the blessings of the Guru. And then of course Saturn in Mula Trikona sign, of course throughout the month in your 9th house. Good time to focus on your dharma. Saturn represents our karma in general, and then 9th house is our dharma. So it's alignment of your dharma and your karma. So do things that matter. That's the message of Saturn in the 9th house. That of course applies throughout the year 2024 for Gemini rising or Gemini Lagna. Okay, and then of course Rahu Ketu are in your 4, 10 axis. I have a separate video for that. But so in this video we're talking about the slow moving planets, the impact of these planets changing signs within the month or before the month or around the month. Okay, so first of all, Mercury is going to be in your 6th house. Mercury is your Lagna Lord. So we're looking at this chart first. Okay, until January 7th, the first week of January, Mercury, your Lagna Lord, will be in the 6th house. So you may be actually thinking about a lot about your enemies, like inner enemies or outer enemies, maybe feeling like, oh, somebody's watching me, things like that. And also focus will be on your job, your 9-to-5 job, not your business. If you do business, then that's not the 6th house. But if you do 9-to-5 job, then your focus will be on the job. Your focus may also be on helping other people, volunteer work. Okay, so 6th house is, so you'll focus on health a lot, as in you'll be motivated to do things for your health. So first week is excellent before January 7th, while Mercury is in the 6th house, to set up some new health routines. And of course, it's the new year, right? So the first week, a great time for Gemini Lagna and Gemini Rashi people to focus on your health. And you could actually, an interesting thing is, it's also the 4th house ruler in the 6th house. So you could do that with your mother, along with your mother. Okay. So that's the first week of January. And then second week of January, Mercury will be shifting over from your 6th house to your 7th house here in the sign of Sagittarius. Okay. So the focus will shift from 6th house to 7th house a little bit in the second week of January. See, a lot of planets in your 7th house. So in general, for Gemini Lagna and Gemini Rashi, throughout the month, 7th house will be activated. I mean, 7th house will have at least 2 or 3 planets throughout the month. So you will be dealing with a lot of things related to your relationship, one-on-one partnerships. It could be good or bad, but because there is Mercury there is Sun first half of the month, and then Mars throughout the month. So there may be some, fiery Pitta energy, because it's also the sign of Sagittarius anyway. It's the fire sign. So having two Pitta planets at least first half of the month, and then Mercury joining them. So be careful about your communication with your partners, with your business or personal partner, and make sure there is no anger issues. Okay, so that's the key, because Mars is going to be in your 7th house throughout the month in a fire sign. Although it has the blessings of the Jupiter, 9th house aspect of Jupiter, but still Mars is Mars, and especially in the 7th house, because Mars doesn't want a relationship. Essentially, Mars wants to go alone. It's the warrior in chief, commander in chief. So Mars in the 7th house, of course, and joined by Sun the first half of the month. Very, very careful with your communication with your partner first half of the month. And then Mercury will join as well, and that means your intellect will be focused on your 7th house as well. So very important. The entire focus will be on your relationships the first half of the month at least. And then starting January 14th, Sun actually on January 14th, so then this is the chart. Sun moves from Sagittarius to Capricorn. That's called Makar Sankranti. That's a big festival in India. Makar means Capricorn. Sankranti is the ingress, like the entry point of Sun, when Sun changes signs. Okay, so Sun will be changing moving from 7th house to the 8th house. So there will be some relief for the 7th house in terms of there won't be such heavy focus on the 7th house. The focus will shift to your 8th house because wherever Sun goes, it eliminates that area of life. So you may discover some secrets, and that applies for the rest of the month. So the second half of the month, Sun is going to be in your 8th house. So good time to bring some light to like spiritual subjects, esoteric wisdom, things like that, learning some new stuff, and be careful with your relationship with your siblings, because some secrets may be revealed. There may be some change, transformation with respect to your relationship with your siblings. Okay, and then of course, so until January 18th, Venus is still going to be in your 6th house. So that this chart is applicable, of course. So Venus is going to be there until January 18th. See, Venus in the 6th house in general is not so great for relationships. And you see, Venus is also your 12th house ruler and your 5th house ruler. So 5th house ruler in the 6th house actually may be a good time to do some health work, start some health routine with your kids. Okay, so 5th house is your children. So that's the good thing. But then after January 18th, then Venus moves over to your 7th house as well. So again, the focus will shift to the 7th house, relationships. 12th house is also the losses, right? So losses means there may be something, you may let go of something with respect to your relationships after January 18th. And then, but there may be like connection between your kids and your spouse. So as a family, you may do things together. But then 7th house is very, very powerful pretty much throughout the month, but especially after January 18th. The big thing is, so these three planets, they rule 6 of your 12 houses. Okay, so out of 12 houses, Mars rules your 11th house and your 6th house. Mercury rules your Lagna, of course, or Rashi, and your 1st house and your 4th house. And Venus rules your 12th house and 5th house. So a lot of energy concentrated in the 7th house. So that means do things with your partner. Do not ignore your partner. That's the message. Accommodate the needs of your partner. Be careful about communication with your partner. That's Mercury. Do not try to go alone. That's Mars. Mars may drive you to do things on your own. Resist that temptation. And then do some artwork, do some finer thing, do some cooking together with your partner. So that's the big remedy. And then you'll have blessings of the Jupiter. So, and it's the sign of Sagittarius we're talking about. So do things, spiritual things with your partner. That's going to be very, very fruitful for Gemini Lagna and Gemini Rashi. So that's the January transit for Gemini people. So next we'll look at Cancer rising or Cancer Rashi. So this is the chart. So these are charts for Cancer rising and Cancer Rashi. If your moon sign is Cancer or your rising sign is Cancer, then this applies to you. So we're talking about January transits, January 2024 transits. So these are the important dates to keep in mind. Mercury is going to change signs from Scorpio to Sagittarius on 7th. And so I've shown, this is the chart before January 7th. Then Sun changes sign from Sagittarius to Capricorn on 14th. So that's the Makar Sankranti. It's a big festival in India. So this is the chart before Sun enters Capricorn. And then Venus changes sign from Scorpio to Sagittarius on January 18th. So until January 18th, this is the chart. So Venus is still going to be in Scorpio. And then finally, of course, Mars is going to be in Sagittarius throughout the month. And so after January 18th, this is how the planets will look like. So let's begin. So first of all, if you notice, all the planets are direct. So Jupiter has been retrograde for a few months, and it'll be direct on December 30th. So throughout the month of January, Jupiter will be direct in your 10th house, giving you blessings for your career in Aries. So this is the time to start some projects for your work, do things, action, expand your career. Maybe also bring some spiritual aspects to your career. All of that is applicable throughout the month. Of course, Jupiter will be in your 10th house. It'll give you more opportunities for your career. Okay, and then Saturn is sitting in your 8th house. Saturn will actually give you. Saturn in the 8th house gives access to deep wisdom. And it's like Saturn is the Vata air planet sitting in the Mula Trikona sign in a air sign of Aquarius. So you'll be able to access the depths of the knowledge of wisdom, deep secrets of the universe, because Saturn is a very mature planet. So you'll look at the deep wisdom in a very mature way, as something that's important for your life, not just for next few months or next few years. And then before January 7th, you'll have Mercury sitting in your 5th house. So Mercury is your 12th house ruler and your 3rd house ruler. So something to do with your children, with your siblings, and maybe foreign trips together with your children, with your, so you might be spending New Year's with, in a foreign place with your kids or with your siblings. So that's the energy. But doing things, creative things, that's also a big theme for the first week of January. Doing creative things, especially because Venus is sitting there as well. So doing things with your children, creative things with your children, or with your romantic partner, if you're not married, if you're not single, right? So that's the energy. But there will be focus on doing things that are actually deep in meaning. It's the sign of Scorpio we're talking about. So Mercury and Venus in Scorpio in the 5th house, you may actually discover some things like Scorpio in the natural zodiac, is like the 8th house. Hidden secrets, change, transformation, hidden wisdom, all of that. So that's going to be the theme the first week of January. Second week of January, Mercury is going to move from your 5th house over to your 6th house. Okay, so that's going to be the big shift. And then focus, of course, throughout the month, Mars is going to be in your 6th house. So be careful with dealing with the enemies. I mean, Mars will give you strength to deal with your enemies, both inner and outer. So especially inner enemies, that is your Shadripus, the 6 weaknesses. Okay, so Mars in the 6th house will give you strength to fight with the enemies, and it has the blessings of the Guru from your 10th house, the 9th aspect of Jupiter. And so good time to actually be very, very active, physically, doing things for your health. Sun and Mars both together, at least for the first half of the month, in your 6th house. So start some health routines. instead of focusing on picking up fights with the enemies. Of course, it's good to pick up fights with the inner enemies, but do not show anger externally, or do not get angry. Rather focus this extreme pitta energy, because it's the sun and the Mars, two fire planets in the sign of Sagittarius, right? So a fire sign, so a lot of pitta, fire, anger energy, all of that, a lot of action oriented energy. Focus that on your health totally. Okay, so at least the first half of the month, you'll have the support of Sun in the 6th house. Sun will bring light to your 6th house the first half of the month. Okay, and then Mercury there as well, so that means doing things in a very diplomatic manner. Mercury is also business, and Mercury is how we communicate with other people. So that's going to be the focus. So be creative, be very careful when you are dealing with other people, because 6th house may, especially at your work also, if you do like a 9-to-5 job, or be careful dealing with people who work for you. There could be a lot of anger, pitta energy when you're dealing with your co-workers, in your job, or people who work for you. So, and then starting January 14th, Sun will be in your 7th house. So the second half of the month, be more careful with your one-on-one partnership, one-on-one relationships, because Sun is a very bright, it's very, very intense planet. So Sun in the 7th house gives like some kind of not separation, but it's like your partner may not be able to withstand your brilliance, or the other way around, you may not be able to stand the brilliance of your partner. So be humble. That's the remedy. Be humble when it comes to your relationships. Be adjusting, be flexible. Let your partner shine. Okay, so the rest of the month, second half of the month, your partner may have some recognition from the authorities, things like that. They may become famous or at least known. So that's going to be the energy. If you have any ego issues, if you say, oh, I am better, or how come your partner is getting all the attention, then it's going to be a problem. So the big remedy for the second half of the month is let go of your ego. Okay. After January 18th, Venus is actually going to shift from your 5th house to your 6th house. So Venus in the 5th house, as we've been discussing, a great time for creativity, especially with your kids, with your romantic partner. But then Venus moves to your 6th house. Venus in the 6th house, not so great for relationship in general, but you have Sun in the 7th house as well, so you have to be extra careful. And you have Mars in the 6th house, giving this energy to Venus. And so be careful when it comes to your relationships. That's one thing. You can channel that energy. You can bring positive energy to your relationships by doing a lot of volunteer work, because 6th house also represents helping other people. And Mars is going to be there entire month. Mars is the planet of action and energy and doing things. And then you have 3 planets, major planets, that rule 6 of the 12 houses in your chart. Okay, so do things for other people, do volunteer work, and so this is going to be the focus for the rest of the month, for the second half of the month. And then also 6th house is health routines, of course. So focus on your health and focus on helping other people. So that's the detailed analysis for the month of January for Cancer Lagna and Cancer Rashi. So next is Leo rising and Leo Rashi. So our rising sign is Leo, or your moon sign is Leo, then this is applicable to you. So we're talking about January 2024 transits. These are the important dates. So Mercury is going to change signs from Scorpio to Sagittarius on January 7th. Sun is going to move from Sagittarius to Capricorn on January 14th. That's Makar Sankranti. Venus is going to change from Scorpio to Sagittarius on 18th, and Mars is going to be in Sagittarius throughout the month. So overall, first we notice, so these are the different charts. First of all, as you can see in this chart, the first chart, all the planets are going to be direct. There is no retrograde planet. Jupiter is turning direct on December 30th. So that's a very positive thing. Time to move forward, to make plans, to do things, start projects. And then for Leo rising or Leo Rashi, first we'll look at the slow-moving planets, the Jupiter and Saturn. So Jupiter is going to be in your 9th house, of course, for another few months. And so from there, it's going to aspect your Lagna, your Rashi. So that's a good, huge blessings of the Guru. Saturn is going to be in your 7th house, in house of relationships. Saturn in the 7th house, actually, especially in its multi-trikona sign, it's going to give you a stability and practicality and maturity in your relationships. So this will bring positive, solid foundation for your relationships. Now, until January 7th, Mercury is going to be in Scorpio in the 4th house, along with Venus. Okay, so Mercury is your 11th ruler and the 2nd house ruler. So Mercury is the primary planet for money for Leo rising and Leo Rashi, because both 11th house and the 2nd house are money related. 11th house is the financial gains from your career, from your profession, whereas 2nd house is the accumulated family wealth. So that's an important planet for you for money. It's going to be in your 4th house. So that means you may do it's beneficial to do things with your mother, or to work from home, start some projects from home, and keep those secret until they fructify, because it's in the sign of Scorpio, which is a hidden sign. So you don't want to reveal the details or financial projects, initiatives you're going to take until they fully materialize. So that's for the first week. And then the second week, we're going to have Sun. In fact, for the first full 2 weeks, Sun is going to be in Sagittarius. So Sun is your Lagna Lord. Sun is your Rashi Lord. It's going to be in your 5th house in Sagittarius. So 5th house will be illuminated. So you'll see those areas will come to light. Your romance or romantic partner may become famous, or you may find somebody who's of high stature, or your children may get recognition or name and fame. And also very, very creative time. You see, you have the blessings of the Jupiter also, 9th aspect of Jupiter, and 5th house is the house of creativity. So your Lagna Lord, so basically all your intellect is focused on creative projects. So first half of the month, extremely powerful for Leo rising, Leo Rashi to start any creative projects. After 14th until January 18th, so from January 1st through January 18th, Venus is going to be in Scorpio. So first 18 days, Venus is still going to be in Scorpio in your 4th house. So Venus is your 10th house ruler and your 3rd house ruler. So, this is classic combination for work from home, pretty much. So you'll be more successful staying at home and doing your work or profession or business, or starting something from home. And also good for new vehicles, buying, car or something. And that's Venus in the 4th house until January 18th. So after January 18th, Venus is going to shift from Scorpio to Sagittarius into your 5th house. So pretty much the second half of the month, the focus will again shift back to the 9th house. And also the second half of the month, from January 14th onwards, Sun is going to be in your 6th house. Okay, Sun is going to be in Capricorn. That's after Makar Sankranti on January 14th. So 6th house Sun gives you focus on health, makes you work hard to take care of your health, and take care of your inner weaknesses. It'll throw light on your weaknesses so that you can improve upon them. You can remove those obstacles and sharripus, the weaknesses. So that'll be a good time, the second half of the month. 5th house will have these 3 big planets. These 3 planets rule 6 of the 12 houses in your chart. Okay, so a lot of energy concentrated on the 5th house. That means doing things with your children, doing things with your romantic partner, doing creative projects, things like that. So that's in a nutshell the month of January 2024 for Leo rising, Leo Lagna, and Leo Rashi. So now we'll move on to Virgo. So this is how the charts for Virgo look like. So we're talking about the January 2024 transits for the sign of Virgo. It could be rising sign or it could be moon sign, both applicable to both. So these are the important dates. Mercury changing signs on 7th, and Sun is changing signs on the 14th. Venus is changing signs on the 18th, whereas Mars is not going to change signs. It'll remain in Sagittarius throughout the month. So first 7 days, Mercury is still going to be in Scorpio. So here, Mercury in your third house in Scorpio, this is Virgo rising or Virgo Rashi. Mercury in the third house will give impetus, focus on communication skills, doing things with your hands, creating some beautiful things, artwork, because Venus is sitting there as well. Okay, and Mercury being your Lagna Lord, a very important planet. So your whole focus will be either dealing with, doing things with your siblings or with your hands, communication, marketing, things like that. Short distance travels, a lot of short distance travels will be fruitful. So that's the first week or so, first 7 days. Okay, and then Mercury moves over to Sagittarius. Okay, so this is so then the focus will shift over to your home, place of residence, to your mother, your inner happiness. Massive energy. Mars and Sun there already, and Mercury will join them on 7th of January until 14th. And after 14th, Sun will actually move over to the next sign of Capricorn. So second week of January, do lots of things sitting at home, but be very careful when it comes to emotions with respect to your mother, or in general at your home. There might be a lot of pitta, fiery energy between you and your mother, or with your mother herself, or in general in your home environment. A lot of pitta energy could be there. So, and Mercury being there as well, so communication may suffer. Be very careful, choose your words very wisely. After January 14th, Sun will actually move over to the 5th house. So then your romantic partner or your children will become, famous, or they'll do some creative work. Focus will be shifting to the 5th house. After January, so until January 18th, Venus will still be in your 3rd house. After January 18th, Venus will move over to your 4th house. So then there'll be massive energy concentrated in your 4th house in the sign of Sagittarius, which is a very powerful, in terms of spirituality, spiritual progress. So making your home a retreat center would be ideal, or just doing, a lot of things sitting at home. And these 3 planets rule 6 of the 12 houses in the zodiac, right? So they're very, very important planets. And just create something, do something useful, meaningful, sitting at home at your place of residence. So that's the January transits for Virgo rising and Virgo Rashi. Next, we'll talk about Libra rising as well as Libra Rashi. So if your moon sign is Libra or your rising sign is Libra, then this applies to you. So we're talking about the January 2024 transits for Libra sign. These are the important dates. Mercury is going to change signs on January 7th. Sun will change on January 14th, and Venus will change signs on January 18th. And of course, Mars is going to stay in the sign of Sagittarius throughout the month of January. First of all, important things. If you look at the chart, these are the charts for Libra Rashi, Libra Lagna and Libra Rashi. All the planets are direct. There is no retrograde planet anymore because Jupiter will turn direct on December 30th. So after that, now throughout January, all the planets will be direct. So that means a good time for moving forward, making forward-looking plans, doing things, practical, achieving results. And so you'll have Libra sign will have Jupiter sitting in the sign of Aries with direct motion in your 7th house. So expansion of relationships, a wonderful time for more spiritually focused relationships. And then you also have, and that of course will remain, Jupiter will remain in Aries in your 7th house through April 2024. Saturn is in your 5th house in the Mula Trikona sign of Aquarius. So Saturn in the 5th house may give you a mature partner, romantic partner, and also very good for creative work. So in terms of the slow-moving planets, so first of all, the first week of January, Mercury is still going to be in Scorpio in your 2nd house. So this is a good time, the first week especially, good time for speech, for speaking engagements, and also for taking care of your family wealth, because Venus is also there. Venus is the planet of luxury and money and banking and finances, and Mercury also communication, trade, business, and all of that. So this is an excellent time to do things, some big initiatives for your family wealth, and also very Venusian, feminine kind of a sweet speech, or speaking engagements or teaching and things like that. That's first week of January. And then Mercury, after 7th, Mercury will move over to Sagittarius, to your 3rd house. So then the focus will be on developing skills with your hands. So after January 7th, before that also Sun and Mars in the 3rd house. So one caution is, be very careful in your communication with your siblings. Very important. There's a lot of concentrated Pitta energy in 3rd house in Sagittarius for Libra sign people. And so careful with your communication with with siblings. But also excellent time for like networking and marketing and doing short distance travels will be very fruitful for your work. But also developing skills with your hands. 3rd house is the skills with your hands. Any instrument or doing things with your hands will be very, very beneficial. Now, after January 14th, Sun will actually move over to the sign of Capricorn, so that'll be Makar Sankranti. Before that, Sun is in the 3rd house, of course, and Sun is your 11th Lord in the 3rd, sitting in the 3rd house, and so it'll bring financial gains with your siblings or through short distance travels. Now, after January 14th, though, Sun will move over to your 4th house. Okay, so we're looking at this chart, the 3rd chart. Sun in the 4th house will actually throw light on your place of residence or your inner happiness, what really makes you happy, or your mother may get recognition. So that's Sun in the 4th house for second half of the month. And then also until January 18th, Venus is in Scorpio. If you see here, Venus is still in the 2nd house, as we mentioned, good for speech and things like that. But after 18th, Venus will move over to your 3rd house, which is Sagittarius. So 3rd house will be the focus after January 18th. 3 planets are going to be there, and among these three planets, they rule 6 of the 12 houses of your zodiac. So very important, a lot of concentrated energy on the 3rd house. Focus will be the 3rd house, short distance travels, communication skills with your hands, and taking care of things. And also like any arguments or small issues or small fights with other people, you'll be victorious. I mean, this gives you a lot of strength and power. So that's in a nutshell the energy for January for Libra sign. Next, we're looking at Scorpio sign, both Scorpio Lagna, which is the rising sign, as well as Scorpio Rashi, which is the moon sign. So we're looking at January 2024 transits for Scorpio sign. These are the important dates. Mercury is going to change signs on the 7th. Sun is going to change signs on 14th. Venus is going to change signs on 18th, and Mars is going to be in the sign of Sagittarius throughout the month of January. So first of all, these are the different charts for different weeks or different periods within January. First of all, if you see the chart, all the planets are direct. That means they're moving forward. Okay, there is no retrograde planet. Jupiter turns direct on December 30th in Aries. So in January, all planets will be moving forward. That means good time for setting up new projects, for doing things for future, for making plans. Okay, and Jupiter will be in your 6th house, and Saturn will be in your 4th house. So focus will be to do some long-term projects and things for your place of residence. So in terms of slow-moving planets, so first of all, the first week of January, Mercury is going to be in Scorpio, and then it'll move over to Sagittarius. So Mercury in the sign of Scorpio means it's going to be in your Lagna. Okay, so communication is important for you, and diplomacy is important. Business dealings are important. So all of that will be on your mind with Mercury in your Lagna, and Mercury is also your 11th Lord as well as 7th Lord. So your relationships will be very much on your mind, the first week of January. After January 7th, Mercury will actually move over to your second house. So second house will become crowded. There'll be a lot of focus, energy on the second house. Be very careful, especially until January 14th, when Sun is still here in the second house with Mars. So first half of January, be careful with your speech with your family members, okay? And because a lot of fire, pitta energy concentrated in the second house. So, and then after January 7th, Mercury will also join Mars and Sun. And then we have Sun sitting here. So wherever Sun goes, it illuminates. It brings light to that area of life. So your family wealth, your family, or your speech will be the focus. It's excellent time to do some speaking engagements, as on a very spiritual topic, because it's the sign of Sagittarius we're talking about. So Sun will actually move over from Sagittarius to Capricorn on January 14th. That's Makar Sankranti. Okay, so to your third house in Capricorn. So second half of January, there'll be new light with respect to your siblings or short distance travels or communication. So those things will be the focus. Okay, and after January 18th, Venus will actually move over from Scorpio to Sagittarius as well. Until January 18th, Venus is still in your Lagna, sitting in your Lagna. Help you develop Venusian skills. You'll want to do arts and painting and cook gourmet food, things like that. So Venusian things. Venus is your seventh ruler. So seventh ruler will be sitting in your Lagna until January 18th. So until January 18th, your spouse, your partner will be the focus. You'll always be thinking about them, or you are involved, you're busy with them. But after 18th, Venus will go over to the second house. So then second house becomes prime focus area. Give speeches, take care of your diet. Okay. So all of the second house matters, and also taking care of family wealth. That's going to be very, very important for you. Venus, Mars, and Mercury in the second house. So that's in a nutshell how the month of January is going to be for Scorpio sign. Next, we'll see the sign of Sagittarius. So we're looking at the January 2024 transits for the sign of Sagittarius. It could be the rising sign, which is Lagna, or it could be the moon sign, which is Rashi. So if you see here, so these are the important dates when planets are going to change signs. Mercury is going to change signs on January 7th. Sun will enter Capricorn on January 14th. Venus will move from Scorpio to Sagittarius on January 18th, and Mars will be in Sagittarius throughout the month. So first of all, if you notice, so these are the charts for different time periods within January for Sagittarius sign. If you notice, all of the planets are in direct motion. Okay, so all of them, so none of the planets are retrograde anymore. Jupiter has been retrograde for the past few months, and it'll become direct on December 30th. So entire month of January, all planets are direct motion. That means a good time to move forward with the projects, with the, setting foundation for the future, and making plans and practically doing things, forward-looking things. Now, for Sagittarius sign, Jupiter, of course, is in the fifth house in Aries. So Jupiter is having an aspect on the Rashi or on the Lagna. So blessings of Jupiter, the Guru, will be there. Fifth house will see expansion in the area of children, or you may find some romantic partners. And a very good time for creative work. Do some creative projects or some businesses, things like that. Jupiter in Aries will make things happen. Then we, of course, have the Mula Trikona Saturn, Shani in Aquarius in your third house. That's, of course, going to be there throughout 2024 and into 2025. So Saturn in the third house will give you courage, will give you a lot of courage to accomplish things. A lot of meaningful short distance travels and mature communication and learning some new skills. All of that will be the theme for Saturn in the third house for Sagittarius sign. Now let's look at these planets. So until January 7th, Mercury is still going to be in Scorpio in your 12th house. Okay, so Mercury and Venus together in Scorpio in the 12th house. That means it's a good time for doing deals with foreigners, communication and business and transactions across the border. Venus is with the finance and Mercury is business. So doing, financial deals or business deals with foreigners or in foreign countries, traveling to foreign countries. Be careful about your expenses though. You may spend more than needed. So that's the first week of January. After January 7th, of course, Mercury will actually move over to your Lagna, Lagna or Rashi in Sagittarius. So until January 14th, so Sun will be in Sagittarius in your Lagna or Rashi. So first 14 days, Sun will be in the first house. That means a great time to focus on your self-development, your personality development, rise up and shine, finding out who you are, and finding your truth, your dharma, your purpose, your reason for existence. And also good for starting some new health routines. The Sun gives you good immunity in the first house, especially along with Mars and Mercury there. And then as of January 14th, Sun will enter Capricorn. That's Makar Sankranti. So it will go over to your second house here. So from your first house, Sun will move over to the second house on January 14th. So for the second half of the month, the focus will shift to your second house. Your family wealth will be in focus. And this is a good time for giving speeches. Second house represents our speech, and Sun is the king. It's the commanding speech. Okay, so very powerful time for webinars, for YouTube videos, for giving speech, things like that. And then until January 18th, Venus will still be in your 8th house, in your 12th house in Scorpio, from January 1st through 18th. And that, as I mentioned, it's actually a good time for foreign travel, connection with the foreigners, but careful about expenses. As of January 18th, for the rest of the month, Venus will also join Mercury in your first house. So Venus, Mercury, Mars will be in your first house starting January 18th together. That will bring focus back to your first house, your personality development. And these three planets together, they rule 6 of the 12 houses of the zodiac. So very, very powerful time. So Venus, of course, rules your 6th house and 11th house, and Mercury rules your 7th and 10th house, and Mars rules your 12th house and 5th house. So a lot of areas of life. These three planets actually give you courage and strength to take action, to do something for material gains. Because Venus is the finance and Mercury is communication and business, and Mars is action. So taking action, taking command of your life, that's the first house, that's you. And setting things up for future. And also focus on your own self-development as well. So both your own development and also doing things, projects, finance related things. Your 11th ruler is sitting in the first house. Your 5th ruler is sitting in the first house, and your 7th and 10th ruler. So your career, your creativity, your children, your financial gains, all of that is going to be part of it. It's all coming to your first house. That means bringing your attention to yourself. So presenting opportunities connected with these houses. So do projects, do self-development after January 18th. So that's the January transits for Sagittarius sign, both Sagittarius Lagna and Rashi. Next, we'll see Capricorn. So these are the charts for Capricorn sign, which includes both Capricorn rising sign, that is Lagna, and Capricorn moon sign, which is Rashi. So these are the important dates. So we're talking about January transits. And these are the dates when planets are changing signs. Mercury is changing signs from Scorpio to Sagittarius on January 7th. Sun will change signs On 14th, Sun will enter Capricorn. That's Makar Sankranti, big festival in India. Venus will enter Sagittarius on January 18th, and Mars will remain in Sagittarius throughout the month. So first of all, what's happening is all the planets are in direct motion. They are direct motion. That means no planet is retrograde. So it's a good time to move forward, to do projects for the future. So things will start materializing now if things were stuck earlier. And then so you'll have Jupiter direct in Aries in your 4th house. So that's an excellent time for expansion of your place of residence, or buying a new home also, or also something to do with your mother. Your mother will feel more spiritual, some kind of expansion with respect to her consciousness, and things like that may happen. Of course, Jupiter will stay here through April, so not just the month of January. And then Saturn is in your 2nd house in Mula Trikona sign. So a time for delivering mature, responsible, and grounded speeches as an executive, as a leader. Okay, so now let's look at all these slower moving planets. Mercury is going to be, so for first 7 days, Mercury is going to be in your 11th house with Venus in Scorpio. Mercury, Venus together, excellent for doing business, finance, taking care of finances and earning money. Basically, it's the 11th house is the financial gains, and also reaching out to a lot of people, a lot of your friends in social media, being very active on social media. That's going to be very, very good for you, especially the first 7 days. And then after January 7th, Mercury will actually move over to your 12th house in the sign of Sagittarius. Okay, so the focus will be on your 12th house until January 14th. So on January 14th, this is the scenario. And then on January 14th, Sun will actually move over to your 1st house, to Capricorn. So the first half of the month, a lot of dealings with foreigners or foreign people, foreign cultures, or retreat, going on a retreat, pilgrimage, ashrams, astral travel, energy healing, all of that will be the theme, the focus in the first 14 days. And then when Sun moves over to your 1st house, so the second half of the month, starting January 14th through the end of the month, Sun will remain in your 1st house. That's a good time to focus on your self-development, personality development, being a leader, focusing on health, because Sun represents immunity. Sun represents a boost to your immunity, in fact. So second half of the month, focus on these things. And then until January 18th, Venus will be in your 12th house in Sagittarius. Venus will be in your 11th house in Scorpio until January 18th. So after January 18th, Venus will shift over to your 12th house. So until January 18th, as I mentioned, a good time for taking care of finances. Venus is money, and it's also the ruler of the 5th house in your chart and the ruler of 10th house, sitting in the 11th house. So financial gains from work, financial gains through creative projects, and doing things with your romantic partner, and also involving your children in your business will bring you financial gains as well. And after January 18th, Venus will actually move over to your 12th house. So again, the focus, once again, a huge focus on your 12th house. Careful about not overspending though. So there might be extra expenses, unexpected or unplanned for expenses. You may actually, and that could be voluntarily, actually, you might, feel like showing off and things like that, because Venus in 12th house gives you a tendency to show off things. So, but Venus, Mars, and Mercury together in the 12th house, a lot of energy in the 12th house. You may feel strong, but you may feel like spending more. So careful about expenses. But other than that, dealing with the foreigners, dealing with foreign culture, foreign people, making a foreign trip, excellent time for that. So that's the January transit for Capricorn sign, both Capricorn Lagna and Capricorn Rashi. Aquarius sign. Aquarius, all these charts are Aquarius, either rising or moon sign, Lagna or Rashi. And so we're talking about the January transit for Aquarius sign. And these are the important dates when planets are changing signs. Mercury is going to change from Scorpio over to Sagittarius on January 7th. Sun will be going into Capricorn on Makar Sankranti, that is on January 14th. It's a big festival when Sun enters the sign of Capricorn. It's called Makar Sankranti. Then Venus is going to change signs on January 18th. It'll go into the sign of Sagittarius. And then, of course, Mars will remain in Sagittarius throughout the month. So if you notice, all of the planets are direct. They're moving forward. None of the planets is retrograde anymore. So that's a big positive, big boost for setting up things for future, making plans, achieving results. So that's going to be the theme. And then see, Jupiter is going to be direct in your third house in the sign of Aries. Okay, so that'll give you skills. You can develop, learn new skills, especially skills related with your hands. Good time for communication, and short distance travels will be fruitful. And of course, Sun is sitting in your Lagna, Mula Trikona sign in Aquarius, Lagna or Rashi, depending on which one you're looking at. Sun will give you maturity. Sun will give you, it'll make you work hard, but all that will be for setting foundation for the future. Okay, Sun will make you work, give you results over time, a huge, abundance and gifts and blessings. Sun in Lagna is actually a big blessing if it's strong enough, if it's well placed. So here it's in the Mul Trikona sign, and it's your Lagna Lord or your Rashi Lord, right? So excellent results from Saturn. Of course, Saturn will be there for the rest of the year, throughout 2024 and through May of 2025. So now let's see the specific results for these planets within the month of January. First of all, for the first 7 days, Mercury will be in your 10th house. Mercury, Venus in the 10th house, amazing placement for, profession, doing things for your work, and doing new projects, especially communication and banking and finance related things will be very, very beneficial first 7 days. And then Mercury on January 7th, Mercury moves over to Sagittarius, and then 11th house will get a boost. Even, there is Sun and Mars there as already, but that means, but Mercury will join them. So that means careful about your communication with your friends. You may have some anger, pitta issues with your friends, and also on social media. Do not get angry on social media. But other than that, great time for financial rewards, financial gains, because 11th house very strong and 10th house is Venus. And so a good time for reaping the rewards of your profession, of your career. And then on January 14th, Sun will actually leave your 11th house and go into your 12th house. So that means the second half of the month, Sun will be here in your 12th house. So 12th house will be illuminated. That means you may actually have a lot of dealings with foreigners or foreign people or foreign culture. You may actually travel also for a pilgrimage, for doing business and things like that. But this is also a good time to get into energy healing, clairvoyance, esoteric subjects, sleeps, yoga nidra, lucid dreaming, all of that, and working with ancestors, astral travel, all of that will be very, very powerful for you the second half of the month. And then until January 18th, actually, Venus is still in your 10th house. And after 18th, Venus will join Mars and Mercury in Sagittarius. So again, the focus will be brought back to your 11th house, financial gains. Wonderful time to be on social media and, communicate in a really nice and professional and business manner. So your 11th house is fully loaded. It's extremely powerful, extremely strong. Make new connections, network with people, reach out to the masses, and do things for, that'll bring financial gains for you. So that's Aquarius sign, the January transit for Aquarius sign. So next we'll see the sign of Pisces. These are the charts for Pisces Lagna or Pisces Rashi. That means if your rising sign is Pisces or your moon sign is Pisces, this will be applicable to you. So we're talking about January transits for Pisces sign. These are the important dates. Mercury is going to change signs from Scorpio to Sagittarius on the 7th of January. Sun is going to change signs from Sagittarius to Capricorn on 14th of January. Venus is going to change signs from Scorpio to Sagittarius on 18th. And Mars, Mangal, will be in Sagittarius, Dhanu Rashi, all throughout the month. So these are the important dates. So let's see what's happening. First of all, if you notice, all of the planets are direct. Any period, if you see all the planets are direct, that means good time for thinking about future, forward-looking projects, setting things in motion, practical results, all of that. So it's a good motion in the right, in the forward direction. Secondly, so Jupiter especially will be direct after several months of retrograde motion in Aries. So as of December 30th, Jupiter will be direct. So throughout January, Jupiter will be direct in Aries in your second house. Good time to give speech and talk about stuff on YouTube or webinars or elsewhere, wherever you can give speech. It'll give you this blessings of the gurus. And also expansion of family wealth. And then Saturn, Mula Trikona sign in Aquarius in your 12th house. Saturn will keep a check on your expenses. You may actually meet some like mature people from foreign countries. And Saturn, of course, will remain in Aquarius throughout 2024. So let's look at these slower moving planets, what they're going to bring for Pisces sign. First of all, Mercury for the first 7 days will be in your 9th house in the sign of Scorpio. Okay, so 9th house, Mercury and Venus together, a great time to do some projects with your gurus. Okay, so do some projects in terms of spiritual work. And basically combine spirituality and business. Excellent time for that. And then after January 7th, Mercury will actually move over to your 10th house. So 10th house already has Sun and Mars. So, and Mercury will join them on January 7th. Be careful with your communication at work because Mars and Sun, a lot of Pitta energy, and it's a fire sign of Sagittarius. So there may be harsh words or anger flaring up, things like that. Be very, very careful about that. And then other than that, though, until January 14th, Sun will be in your 10th house. Mars will be there throughout the months. Mercury will join them on 7th. So this will be a time for excellent communication and doing things, taking action for your career and networking and things like that. On January 14th, Sun will actually transition over to the next sign of Capricorn. So Sun will be in your 11th house in Makar Rashi, which is Capricorn. Sun, so in the second half of the month, Sun will be in your 11th house. So you may meet some, exalted friends like who have high stature. And reach out to the masses and being active on social media, helping people, helping the masses, and lots of financial gains. So all of that will be the theme second half of the month. And until 18th of January, Venus will still be in your 9th house. And after 18th, Venus will be joining Mercury and Mars in your 10th house. So again, the focus will be shifted over to the 10th house after January 18th. A great time for doing big projects at work for your profession. Basically, give a boost to your profession starting January 18th. So that's, in a nutshell, the summary of impact of different transits for the month of January for Pisces sign, either Lagna or Rashi. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And thanks for watching.